Cool. All right. Yeah, so Genesis does what Nintendo don't. We're going to talk about the Sega Genesis today. We've talked about the Super Nintendo. We've talked about the head-to-head in previous podcasts, but we haven't done an episode specifically on the Sega Genesis. This was the loser in a poll between it and the N64. We did the N64 before this. So it's the Sega Genesis's turn. Came
Yay.
out in September of 1989. Was supposed to be. It actually, fun fact I learned, there was shipments that were sent out early in North America. So they started just getting sold in late August 1989 because they had them. So they were like, fuck it, sell them. So so technically it was supposed to launch in September 1989, but because of early shipments, it launched in August 1989. There was a revision in 1993, simply known as just Genesis. They took away the Sega prefix, and that's what people call the Model 2. It was a revision that made the system itself smaller. There was a new 6-button controller that was packaged in with it that had your X, Y, and Z buttons alongside your A, B, and C buttons. Very important in order to have for specifically fighting games and a couple others, because the Genesis's original controller was not very conducive to those kind of games, and they were pretty big back in the day. The system was discontinued in 1997. We actually mentioned that in our podcast on 1997. It was known for having third parties supply the console in some territories, and in a couple of those cases, they're still technically supporting them now. I mean, that's okay. It's pretty much in like South America and like a couple other weird territories. There was a lot of peripherals for this thing, as a lot of people are probably well aware. You had the Sega CD, which added a CD add-on, which had its own library of games. There was the 32X, which was a 32-bit add-on that had its own library of games. And there was even a Sega Nomad, which was a different piece of hardware that would allow you to play your Sega Genesis games on the go. That was literally its only purpose, was a portable Sega Genesis. So that's pretty cool. It is also very well known for its library of games getting constantly re-released, because Sega just loves to compile a bunch of their old Sega Genesis games and just put them out there. You've had like Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. There was the Sega Genesis Classics, the actual software game, not the like software subscription service that's part of your Nintendo Switch Online, that is now called Sega Genesis Classics. But the Sega Genesis Classics, the Sega Genesis Mini Console was also released shortly after the Super Nintendo Classic was released. That also has a bunch of stuff. Then there's also been others. There's like a 3D Classics one for the there was like a smaller selection of games with 3D support on the 3DS and all sorts of stuff like that. There's sales figures are a little wonky. It has like, there's been various sources as to like what the sales figures are, but the main like consensus is the worldwide sales total is about 30 million units. If you just count Sega's like shipments. If you count the third party units, then it gets really hazy. It could be anywhere from 35 million to 40 million. There's a weird like gray area with that because they don't track that shit all that well. Notably, this system did not do well in Japan. It only sold like 3.5 million of its total sales in Japan, which is not a lot. The Sega Saturn did more, like a lot more than the by like a few million than the Sega Genesis did over there. But it is popular over here in North America, where it's well known for being for selling about as well as the Super Nintendo. Most sources put it a little bit under the Super Nintendo at the end of the day. Usually the commonly cited number is about 20 million. It could be as low as 18 million. It could be as high as a little over 20 million. But the Super Nintendo, it's typically somewhere in the ballpark of like 19.5 to anywhere to 23 million. So most of the time it's losing to the Super Nintendo, but not by much. But that does make it Sega's most successful console by far, especially in North America. I also forgot to mention this, but Sega Genesis is also very well known for being a port machine for Sega's arcade games at the time. The Master System also did this, but the Sega Genesis was like a lot of their heavy hitters and well-known games that we know and love on the Genesis were actually arcade games that got ported to the Genesis because it was made with that in mind. Before we get into the list of notable titles, though, do you guys have anything to chime in?
Yeah.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah. What's your name?
I'm glad you asked, because I never mentioned it because we got distracted by a certain cat that ruined our recording.
They all know Cheese Whiz's name.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
The post process
true.
the post processing didn't know Cheese Whiz's name till we mentioned it. But I'm Cloud.
I'm Jack.
And I'm upset.
upset at a cat.
I'm Landon, and this is the GamingStooges Talks podcast. I don't think we ever mentioned the title of the fucking show ever. So
to be fair, the title is actually the Cloud Jack and Landon part is not all over it most of the time. The GamingStooges Talk podcast is all over our episodes everywhere. So that part's usually not necessary.
But it's still sometimes it's nice to say the name of the show at the beginning of the show. Is that what, you ready for a mugshot, Landon? Yes. You missed it. He came and sat on my laptop at the literally when we started
the Audacity recording
to hit record. He jumped on the fucking desk, and then as soon as Cloud started talking, he sat on the fucking laptop and stopped my audio recording.
Stopped the Audacity. It was great. So, just to list off not a complete list by any means, but here's a bunch of notable titles. You had the Sonic the Hedgehog series. I lumped series together, obviously. You got Vector Man. There's Ristar. I still don't know the proper pronunciation. I don't think anyone does.
I think it's
Golden
Roostar.
Axe.
Roostar.
Gotcha. There's Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4. There's the Shining Force games. There's Altered Beast. That used to be the pack-in before Sonic. There's Streets of Rage. You had Echo the Dolphin. Castlevania Bloodlines. Mega Man The Wily Wars. Contra Hardcore. There was a few third-party offerings and established IP that got their own special entries on the system. It was pretty cool. Gunstar Heroes, Crusaders of Senti, Zero Wing. That's the one with the memes, the classic memes from the early 2000s, late 2000s. You had Toe Jam and Earl, Sword of Vermilion, Pulse Man. That's a Game Freak game before Pokemon, interestingly. There was Comic Zone, Beyond Oasis. There's Thunder Force 2, Space Harrier 2, Dynamite Heady, Kid Chameleon. You had Columns. There was Puyo Puyo or Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bee Machine. That one depends on which region that you're in. There was a lot of sports games, especially American football, that did really well on this thing. Basketball as well had some games that did pretty well on here. There's also a large number of licensed games, especially from Disney, like the Mickey Mouse Illusion games, Aladdin, Toy Story, The Lion King. So, and there's a lot that I didn't even mention that we could go over as well. So, what was you guys' earliest experiences with the Sega Genesis? Jack, do you remember your first Genesis game, the first time you played one?
It's very, very hazy because I was probably 5 or 6 years old, but I had a cousin who had a Genesis when I was very young, and it was one of, if not my first exposure to video games. I played Sonic 2, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I liked the colors, and it looked fun, and I, had a tenuous grasp on how the buttons worked, but again, I was maybe 5 or 6, so...
maybe for you, did you play with the 3-button or the 6-button version of the controller?
Genuinely, it's been so goddamn long, I have no clue, but if I had to guess, it was probably the 3-button version.
Probably was easier on you as a 5-year-old.
Probably. It was one of my first, video game experiences as far as I remember. I never owned one, and I didn't, grow up with it. Most of the games that I played on the Genesis were not actually on the Genesis. They were through collection re-releases or emulation when I was a little bit older, but yeah.
I have to say there is one aspect of my childhood Genesis experiences where you could technically say I am a fraud. I never actually owned a Genesis myself.
Whoa.
This is probably right up there alongside a couple other consoles where the Xbox 360 where I never technically actually owned it, but I was very often living in a setting where there was a Sega Genesis. Like, I don't know why my extended family and my family in general, the Sega Genesis was extremely popular. My sister got a Genesis.
They knew that Genesis does.
They knew that Genesis does. My mom, I remember, or my family in general, they had gotten us, my sister and me, the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. I ended up getting the Super Nintendo. My sister got the Genesis. I'm pretty sure they got those because they were like the cheap versions. I had like the cheaper model of the Super Nintendo that they had put out for like budget. And I'm pretty sure that we got the Model 2 like after the discontinuation, so there must have been like a clearance deal going on at some store probably at the time. It was probably like $30-$50 at most. I know it was the Model 2, and I remember playing it in my sister's room with the special 3-game pack of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I remember that vividly because I remember when we would later get Sonic and Knuckles, that because it was that multi-pack, I could not properly play Knuckles and Sonic 2 until much, much later, and I never got to use the actual lock-on technology for that specific thing. And I have vivid memories of going in my sister's room a lot and playing Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine because of that. I don't remember my exact age. I just remember it was around the same time that I had my Super Nintendo, which is somewhere in the ballpark of 1998, 1999 was that. So my first games were that. That was my first experience. I would later go on to just play it when I was in foster care. My foster parents had it. And then obviously you've had so many chances to play like re-releases of their games on everything. So that's all stuff to talk about later. Landon, what about you? Do you remember your first experience with the Genesis game and what it was?
Yeah, one of my now brothers had a Genesis. I remember Sonic. I want to say it was probably Sonic 1, but it could have also been Sonic 2 that I played. I remember the cover art of Sonic Spinball, but I don't think I ever played that. I do also remember the logo for Sonic and Knuckles specifically. So it was definitely like later, but I don't think I played Sonic and Knuckles until much later.
I definitely remember playing Sonic and Knuckles. I remember never playing Sonic 3. I remember one of my cousins owning Sonic 3, and I thought that was cool, but I never got to actually like play it until like Sonic Mega Collection Plus.
Sure, yeah. And then like what was it? 2014? I think it was 2014. I went out and bought a Genesis for myself, and like I own pretty much I own all the Sonic games, Phantasy Star 2 and 3, a lot of stuff. So I've actually gone through and like collected a lot of the Genesis stuff.
You definitely were collecting Genesis at a good time, because like nowadays some of like the popular Genesis games that are like not well printed, like the Phantasy Star games, are like pretty expensive now. Like I tried to look for a copy of like Phantasy Star 4 just because like I love it so much. I was like I wonder how much it is, and I checked the price. I was like, oh, this is like $100.
Yeah, no, I don't own Phantasy Star 4, unfortunately.
I think I remember seeing Phantasy Star 2 was like $60. Like it's still quite a bit.
It was, I remember, like, that one was kind of a whim purchase, because I bought it the same time I got Phantasy Star 2 alongside my Genesis, and I think 3 or 4 of the Sonic games, and it was, like, complete inbox with the ground map, still, like, didn't set me back that much, so it was, like, affordable for me back then when I had a part-time job and I went to college, so...
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of our experiences with Genesis games happen to come from the various compilations of games that were on Genesis. I mean, obviously the Sonic collections had a lot of the Sonic stuff, but there's also other collections that had a lot of the other games. Any games or compilations of games that really stick out as formative for you as far as the Genesis library? I'm sure Jack, you said you never really owned a PS2, so I'm assuming that you didn't get to play the Plus version. But did you end up owning?
No.
I don't remember. Did you end up owning a Sonic Mega Collection?
I did, yeah. Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube was like pretty much my first not like exposure, but like my first like real experience with a lot of like Sonic's Genesis titles. So yeah, that was pretty much like I did not really play a ton of Genesis games like growing up. Like I know I had a cousin who had one, but like I never saw him that much. Like he didn't live near here, so it was like it was only like a once or twice time thing that I even played on the Genesis. But for the most part, my exposure to the Genesis until like much later was like mostly just the Sonic collections.
Yeah.
I haven't really, to be honest, I haven't played a lot of Genesis titles.
Outside
I mean,
of
I've
the
played
Sonic
some,
library.
but like I've played like the was the PS3 and 360 Genesis collection that came out in like 2010 or something.
Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection.
Yeah, that one. And I've played some through the Nintendo Switch Online as well, but for the most part, I was never like the Genesis was not like a big console for me.
Yeah,
like
no. God.
I was just gonna say, I recognize and understand its place in history, and like I respect it as the console that has like one of my favorite games of all time. Several of my favorite games of all time, to be honest. But yeah, it's not one that I have a lot of like first-hand experience with, at least as far as original hardware goes.
I feel like, I mean, nowadays I don't think that like the whole like debate is as heated as it used to be, but I definitely feel like I was probably one of those people that like if I had gotten more passionate about talking about games to like random people, I would be that like ultimate fence sitter that would annoy people like for not picking a side. Because like for me, I had so much experience with both Super Nintendo and Genesis. So like if someone was to like, oh, you got to choose between the two, I'm just like, oh boy, two cakes. Like that's just me. Like that's just me when it comes to the like. I've often like I go back and forth between the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Like I don't even remember where I placed the two the last time that we did our like last year we did our top 10 consoles of all time. I probably put them right next to each other, and those two could get flipped back and forth until the cows come home, until I end up 6 foot underground. Like I can't pick between the two, because while I do recognize that the Super Nintendo has like the most high quality games, like I have so much nostalgia for the games that I've played on Genesis, and there are a lot of good games. So it's like I can't choose. Like the Sega Genesis, I grew up with a lot, even though I didn't own one, because with my sister, it was the stuff that I played on that. There was the Sonic games. There was, we both got the Lion King on our respective systems. And I can tell you right now, the game is identical on both systems. It just, there's nothing different. It plays the same in a good way. And it is also very hard on both systems. The Toy Story, I will say I definitely prefer the Genesis version. For the most part, it like for some reason it looks better, even though it's a Genesis game. Like just the way that they like the style that they went with is just ever so slightly better, like blending of like the sprites in the background, the colors and stuff. And it has more content because there is an extra level or two that is not in the Super Nintendo version. And I don't know why. They just didn't put like the level where you get to drive around as the RC car in the Super Nintendo version. I don't know why they didn't do that, but the Genesis version of Toy Story is the best version, in my opinion. Aladdin, I haven't played a lot of either version. And typically a lot of people say that the Super Nintendo version plays better, but the Genesis version is like the better game just because of how it like...
It depends on who you ask, honestly.
It really depends. It's like a toss-up for different reasons.
They're different. They're like honestly different games almost. Like the Super Nintendo
They're not really the same. Like they don't even have the same exact levels either.
The Super Nintendo version is more like platforming and just like get to the end level based, but the Genesis is more like combat oriented, so it's just kind of like a down to personal preference. But I like the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin more. I just think like,
the Genesis version
does have
the Genesis version does have the visual support, like from people from Disney came in and helped them with like the sprite work so it looks more faithful to the movie. But if again, it depends at the end of the day. I didn't get to play that one, but I do remember when we've talked about like licensed games, and I remember I might have talked a little bit about it in our Super Nintendo podcast, but the Mickey Illusion games, I definitely have more experience playing the Genesis versions. I don't remember ever actually picking up a Super Nintendo controller to play those games. Whichever games in that series I remember playing, it was definitely when I was playing the Genesis and foster care, because they had one of the games that on the system. So I played quite a few of like those multi-platform licensed games on the Genesis, actually, because of foster care and all that. You know what game actually that I didn't list on here because it's not a notable game, but I just have a vivid memory of playing it. That I played on the Genesis.
If it's not notable.
There is a game called Crystal's Ponytail.
Nope.
It is an extremely girly game where you play as a pony. Everything is rainbow colored, and it's a 2D side-scrolling platformer. Surprisingly, it is not terrible, but I just remember because of how vivid and colorful it was playing that game.
I can't say I've ever heard of that one.
It sounds like you made it up on the spot.
It's a real game. And honestly, when that popular web game Robot Unicorn Attack had come out, it reminded me of Crystal's Ponytail just because of how colorful it was.
Okay. Well, you better stream this instead of Final Fantasy VIII.
I would probably have a more fun time with that game than Final Fantasy VIII, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, no, I've played so many Genesis games. Obviously, just that I've talked about all of those, but like I've played a lot of compilations. I played Sonic Mega Collection Plus on PS2 a lot. It's not the best way to experience the games that are on there, mostly because like saving and loading save states is very slow on the PS2 version. But you do at least have them, and you could also unlock a bunch of other like Genesis titles. I remember playing a couple of the Genesis games through that. I think Ristar is on that, not Gems Collection, because I think
Correct.
I remember playing Ristar on Mega Collection Plus. That is a classic. It's a shame that I didn't get to play it on an actual Genesis, but yeah, that's. I remember playing Vector Man. That one I had originally actually played at another relative's house up in Maine. I had relatives, an aunt and uncle, and they had a Genesis, and they had a bunch of games. That was how I ended up playing the little bit of the Aladdin game that I was talking about. There was also a RoboCop game that I played a little bit of. I don't remember much about it, but I remember playing a RoboCop game, and I also played Vector Man, and I remember Vector Man a lot because I was like, "Yo, this is so cool! It's like a side-scrolling, like it reminded me of Metroid because I'd played a little bit of Metroid, and I was like, oh, cool, like space-looking guy, and he shoots stuff. Like I was a kid, so that's the only connection I could make. But I remember enjoying Vector Man as a kid. I don't remember like all of the games that I played as a kid, as far as like the Genesis, because like God, there was so many. There was like a compilation of like games that was on the Xbox that there was like a bunch of like random like Genesis games. Wasn't just Genesis games, but it was also like arcade hits and stuff like that like I can't remember the name of it, but I remember my a friend or a cousin of mine and I sitting down to play some stuff. I think Streets of Rage was a game that we might have played in there together. I think I remember playing Echo the Dolphin that way, maybe. So just like that's, I could go on all day. Like that's all of the stuff I remember from like early on. Obviously, I've played a lot of the Sega Genesis classics. In our Discord, I've talked about like playing the Phantasy Star games through that. But there's a lot of other games that are on that compilation. I would recommend, Jack, honestly, if you wanted to like have like a physical copy of a good compilation of Sega Genesis games, that the Sega Genesis classics release on the Switch, PS4, Xbox is a pretty good gateway to like having it on a modern platform. Because there's a lot of good stuff there. There's like save states, you can rewind, you can fast forward. So like if you want to make stuff go faster, it's a way to do that. So there's a lot of good games on that.
We'll have to look into that.
Oh yeah, it's confusing to talk about that compilation though, because they decided to rename the software on the Nintendo Switch Online as blank classics. So when you're like Sega Genesis Classics, you're like, oh yeah, the Nintendo Switch Online thing, and then I'll be like, no, I'm talking about the video game. Like there was a video game that was called that. And they also discontinued that off of like the digital storefronts too, so that doesn't make anything easier.
It's kind of funny how many of the like what are considered classics of the system were not very popular at all.
There wasn't a lot of Genesis games that sold super well, even though like the Genesis did sell a lot of like games, like the software sales were decent. There's like 24 games that actually reached over 1 million copies confirmed. And if sales tracking from when I was talking about the console itself is anything to go by, the sales tracking for the software is probably horrendous. Like there could be games that sold 1 million and we don't even know about it because nobody said anything.
Yeah, I don't know if you were looking at the list of best-selling games, but it is quite literally exactly 24 games that sold over 1 million units on the Genesis.
It's 25.
And is it 25? Oh.
They're
counting the sales data of Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles together. Shut up, Landon.
Yep. They did originally separate them for some reason, and then they decided on Wikipedia to combine them at some point. Because I think if I remember correctly, like Sonic & Knuckles was like 2 or 3 million, and then so was Sonic 3, and then they were just like, fuck it, put them together. And honestly, I mean, it's they couple the sales of like the Pokemon versions together. It's fine.
If I had my way, we would separate that shit out too.
I want to know. This is not related, but I want to know what game of each pair actually sold better.
Yeah,
Nintendo, you're pussyfooting around. I want to know which one did better in each
straight
gen.
up. It's like it's interesting to see like what the customer choice is on certain stuff. Is it the certain legendary? Is it do people gravitate towards whatever's like listed first? Is it the color representation? I don't know.
I have to wonder, like, because we all know about the stereotype of like the dude bro gamers that only buy Call of Duty and Madden or FIFA or what have you. I have to wonder if the Genesis was the console of choice for that demographic back in the day, because 7 of the 24 best-selling Genesis games are sports titles.
Oh yeah,
like there are a lot of big sports games on the system. We have John Madden Football 93. We have NHL 94. We have Joe Montana Football.
Joe Montana, baby.
NBA Jam, FIFA Soccer 95, NFL 98, NFL Football 94, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's just funny. That's funny to me.
It's
NBA Jam, though. That's a classic.
NBA Jam. That's a...
People still talk about NBA Jam.
The rest of them... The fucking guy...
The rest of them take it or leave it, but yeah.
The voice actor for the announcer constantly... went to Portland Retro like years and years and years. I don't know if he's going again this year, but yeah, he always had a booth, and like you could like request him to like
say lines
record
for
a
the game.
or like to do like a
just
custom
say anything.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So you would hear him like shouting while you're like on the other side of the entire like show floor, and
he would like say lines from the game.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, that's funny.
And then like there was like times when he'd also have like a panel. So yeah.
So what I was trying to get into with talking about like the various like compilations and like re-releases is just like, what are your thoughts on that? Because it is famously probably the most consistently supported like afterlife of a console, just having so many re-releases of their games and compilations.
It might actually be, honestly. I like it. Kind of makes.
Feel about
it? I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, like I like the fact that Sega, Sega, they left the console market after the Dreamcast, and the Genesis was their most successful system, so it makes sense that they, like, every generation or so, they go back and they're like, all right, here's a new compilation of the Genesis classics for new fans to discover. And it's like, I don't have a problem with it. It's like, yeah, they're just kind of re-releasing the same games over and over again, but like, it's giving new players an opportunity to experience games that they might not have the option to otherwise.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm okay
used
with
to
it.
be like a little torn on it just because of like in the early days when they were re-releasing these games, as I was kind of alluding to earlier, is that they weren't always like the best ways to play those games.
Yeah.
Like when they would when they would release, and a lot of the time it was usually with like the stuff that like not as many people like talk about. It's not just the compilations, but just like the straight up re-releases of games. Like when they did like a lot of Genesis re-releases on the PS3, they had re-released like Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 and stuff like that. When they like re-released a lot of games, sometimes the emulation quality would not be too good. There'd sometimes be input delay. That was one thing I really noticed was like a really big problem on when I played, because dude, I don't know how many times I have bought something that contains Sonic 2 in it or is a re-release of Sonic 2. I love Sonic 2. Like I've played it on like 10 different platforms, and that's probably not an exaggeration. I think I'm very close to my total there.
I genuinely think. Oh, sorry. Go. Keep going.
I
Finish your thought.
think that the PS3 re-release is probably the worst version I've played because there was noticeable input delay. Like I would press the X button to jump, and I could feel that moment hanging before Sonic jumps, and I remember trying to play it, and as the more I played it, the worse it got, and I was just like, no, this is not it. This is not Sonic 2. Get this shit out of my face. But go on with what you were gonna say.
I mean, we you mentioned how like Genesis games are constantly re-released and, you know, put into different collections and compilations. I think Sonic 1 specifically might be one of the most re-released games of all time. Like including like best of compilations for the system. Like Sonic 1 has been absolutely whored out to everything. To the point where you can play it in Sonic Generations. Just the whole game is right there.
Yeah, it's in so many different compilations, and even like a lot of the compilations too, like even if they don't have any other Sonic games, they will have Sonic 1. Like I think the 3D Classics Sega one, did that have more Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 or just Sonic 1? Because that one was just a smaller selection.
Which one was it?
Sega 3D Classics on the 30S.
That
was like a smaller sample.
The issue with that release is that we got one of the packages.
Oh yeah, and
it was
Sega
like the second
had actually
one.
put out. Yeah, Sega had actually put out a couple different ones.
Oh yeah.
So
Sega 3D Classics Collection. It is in Japan known as the Sega 3D Reprint Archives.
Yeah.
Great name.
But
yeah,
it's a cool, like, I actually own this, and I played a lot of Puyo Puyo through this. That's what I actually gravitated to the most when I was playing this. But the one we got was number 2.
Yep.
If that says anything for that.
It had Altered Beast, Fantasy Zone 2W, Fantasy Zone 2, The Tears of Opa Opa, Galaxy Force 2, Maze Walker, Power Drift, Puyo Puyo 2, Sonic 1, and Thunderblade.
Yep. So, like, even if like there's no other Sonic games on a compilation, Sonic 1, if there's a Sega compilation, it'll be there.
The third release had Sonic 2, but that we did not get that one.
The second game that we did get released on Landon's birthday 10 years ago. So shout out to the Sega 3D Classics Collection for the 3DS.
Yeah, that's one game that I played a little bit of, but I don't actually own it. I'm looking to try to get a copy of it because it is a nice collection. And as the name says, it puts 3D into those games, so you get to like play those games with like stereoscopic 3D, and it's really cool because the Sega Genesis was known for having like parallax scrolling, even more than the Super Nintendo, because the Super Nintendo had like layered system to it too. But the Sega Genesis like had a bunch of layers that would move independently, and they used it in a fuck ton of their games. And so like putting the 3D onto that effect is insanely cool. Like that was a really cool idea that they had.
Cloud, I put the box art for that game in the spoilers, and I want you to guess just from looking at it who drew the artwork, because I think you'll know who it is.
Joe Montana. I haven't looked.
If only.
I don't want to. I had to click away, so like on the
okay, never mind.
On the thing, but I didn't want to stay on it too long. But I did. I was looking at it, and oh yeah, that's right. It says it on the Wikipedia page that it's from Ken Sugimori.
Ken Sugimori. That's interesting.
Yeah. That is really cool. But other compilations that are notable. So I mentioned that like some of the re-releases, the quality is not super good. But actually building off what you said, what you were talking about when we were talking about the Sega 3D classics, is those were actually made by M2. And M2 is known for making really fucking good emulated versions of like the games. Like they are also behind the Sega Ages games that get like individual re-releases on the Switch and other modern platforms. And it's like usually like $5 to $7 a game, $5 to $8 a game. And yeah, like that is, like per game, and it's like a re-release of like an old game, but they put a shit ton of quality of life improvements into it. The emulation is like 100% accurate. It just feels like if you were playing the Genesis cartridge popped into your system, upscaled to a beautiful crisp resolution and everything. Like it is... There's some of the best ways to play some of the old Genesis games is the M2 versions. If you're like trying to play specific games, like those are the best versions to go for. That's how I played Phantasy Star, because they did Sega Ages for Phantasy Star. And it's also a really good way to experience certain games that might have been on the Master System or the Genesis that like we didn't actually get. Because like they did that for Puyo Puyo as well, Puyo Puyo 2 and Puyo Puyo 1. I have both of those on the Switch because of course I do. I'm a Puyo Puyo fiend. I have like 5 Puyo Puyo games on that shit. And it's really like, it's amazing what M2 has been able to do. Like they're really good. So if M2 is behind something, just know it probably plays incredibly well as far as like porting stuff from older systems. But the Sega Genesis Classics software and the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection, those are two of my favorite compilations. I will say they're not the best quality, like they're not at the level of M2, but they play incredibly well. That's how I played certain games here and there. And they tend to have a lot of games in one. Like the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection and the Sega Genesis Classics each have, I think, 40 plus games on them. And a lot of them are like really notable titles. So like if you're just trying to get a critical mass of games that play well, those two are really good compilations, I will say. But I think honestly, if it weren't for the fact that it is tied to a subscription, the Switch Online is actually an excellent way to play a lot of Genesis games. Like the Genesis Classics on that, it is right up there with M2 as far as like the quality. I don't even know if M2 is behind the porting of those games on Sega on the Switch Online. It wouldn't surprise me if they were helping with it because they play so well. That's how I played Phantasy Star 4. And they're the collection of games that's on that software. If you have the subscription, it is the best way to play some of these games now because of the quality of the emulation. I had to get into the quality of the emulation stuff just because, I'm sorry, like that's kind of a big deal when it comes to Genesis games now, because it's such a prominent thing, is like they're re-released so much. You got to know like what are the good options to go for.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't know, Landon, what experiences do you have with different like Sega compilations? You mentioned Sega 3D Classics.
Yeah, Sega 3D Classics. I think I still own a sealed copy of the Sonic Ultimate Genesis collection for the PlayStation 3.
I have it for the PS3 as well.
Yeah. I had to let the asshole back into here, and he is staring
the
at
Wiz.
me. Yeah, the Wiz.
Cheese the Whiz.
Let me sit on your laptop and ruin your recording again, bitch.
Yeah, I told him I'd throw him out of the house if he did that. So that's where we're at. Jesus, go away. Anyway, what are we doing? We're talking about
We're
Genesis?
talking about some of our favorite compilations of Genesis games.
Yeah.
Like which ones stick out to us.
Yeah, I played a little bit of the Switch one, and that one's pretty good. I mean, like for Genesis specifically, what are you doing? Probably like one of those three. The thing, like if it's just a Sega one in general, it's probably like Sonic Gems Collection, but that doesn't really have Genesis games.
It's weird. I know that with Gems Collection, like more than any of the other compilations, honestly, it has a wide array of platforms that are, because there are a couple of Genesis games. That's actually how the Vector Man games, I believe, were brought back, because they were not on Sonic Mega Collection Plus, or at least one of the two wasn't.
I think it's Vector Man 2 is on the Gems Collection as a secret unlock.
So there's Genesis, there's Master System, there's Saturn, there's CD, and there's Arcade. That's all on Sonic Gems Collection with one game or another. So it is pretty interesting. Yeah, they did something like the Sonic collections. They did a lot more spread out because it's just how that shook out. But they do have some Genesis games on there, depending on which games you're talking about. I remember that's how I played Sonic Mega Collection Plus, was how I played that game, The Ooze. That is not like a super well known game outside of like people who've played it on the compilations, but you literally control an ooze that like moves around, and you have to not get hit by stuff and stretch your ooze out, and it's weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Don't ever say that phrase again. Don't.
Yeah, it's
like a top ooze out.
Yeah, you have to move your ooze through places and stretch the ooze out. And
Stop that.
It's like a weird top-down game. I don't know how else to explain it.
Don't. Just don't explain it. That's how you explain it.
So, yeah, I want to ask, though, what some of your favorite Genesis games are, considering we've been able to play them in some form or another. You have like a top 3 or a top 5 or something you can rattle off.
Oh my god.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
He said 2 games. All right. Give him 3 more. He's asked for a top 5.
Sonic 2. Echo the Dolphin.
Okay.
Have you played Echo the Dolphin? I only played a little bit of it. Is it good? Because like I feel like a lot of people have like talked a lot about it, but like it's never.
It's fine. I don't like it that much, honestly. It's more of a meme game than anything. Yeah. Shit, man. Genesis games? I guess I'll say Mortal Kombat. I have actually played the Genesis version of Mortal Kombat.
I'm surprised you didn't say Toe Jam and Earl on
Toe Jam and Earl and Panic on Funkotron.
Oh no, we played that once.
We did. We played that once and had no fucking clue what we were doing because it was nothing like we expected it to be, so we gave up. So yeah, Toe Jam and Earl and Panic on Funkotron. Shit. I guess I played Golden Axe.
Golden Axe is pretty fun.
Golden Axe.
I played it like briefly with a friend. I think it's one of those. It's one of those games where like Sega had a lot of games where like if you play with a friend, it's more fun.
Yeah.
But like if you play by yourself, it's not quite as not quite as exciting.
NBA Jam, but you know, yeah. I'm showing my lack of Genesis experience here. I'm having a hard time remembering games.
Ooh, I will say
we should replace him with someone.
Someone.
My favorite.
I wonder who is a fan of the Genesis that you could replace me with.
You know what's really funny is before you even joined our call, like Landon and I were like sitting in our voice call, and we were like, it would have been cool if Justin were here.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Fucking wrist.
No.
Stop it.
It's Cheese the Whiz.
Cheese the Whiz.
Cheese the Whiz.
That's his Sonic OC name, Cheese the Whiz.
Cheese the Whiz.
I was thinking about like Scott the Woz, Cheese the Whiz.
Oh, true. True.
Hey all, cheese here.
Fuck off.
Like, Streets of Rage. I've played. How many games have I named? I don't fucking know.
You've gone well over the 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've gotten past the 5.
Okay. I was
for
just naming
me,
games.
I don't know if I could like order them, and I want to try to like keep it to like one per series. But my favorite Sega game, obviously, is still Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But I also really, really like Phantasy Star 4. That's like really, really up there. I think it's like a top 20 game for me still. I really think that like more people who like turn-based RPGs, especially like from the 16-bit era, that's like one of those games where like you should play this game, because I guarantee you, if you haven't played this game is good. You will like this game. That's one of my favorites. I do really like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I know that's technically a Sonic game, but it's also technically a Puyo Puyo game, so I'm gonna call it a Puyo Puyo game instead. That's one of my favorite games. Like, that got me into Puyo Puyo, and now like I love Puyo Puyo because it's just like everybody has their block puzzle game that they love. A lot of people, they pick Tetris. You know, if you're Landon, you'll pick Columns because you're a weirdo, and I respect that. But me, I'm a Puyo Puyo guy.
Only on this podcast, I'll say Columns.
Only on this podcast. Yeah, Columns. But also, I loved Rystar, whatever. I remember playing through that a lot when I unlocked it. That's another thing, like, before I get too deep into it, but like they had a lot of like unlockable games on their compilations, and I thought that was fun. It was like it gave you something to look forward to try to like work towards, and then you'd have even more games in your collection on your one piece, on your one disc or your one cartridge, and it was like, oh, cool. So that was always something I thought was cool. One game that I want to put on my top games on the Genesis, I just haven't played enough of it because it's hard as balls, but what I played was excellent, and I need to go back and play more, is Gunstar Heroes. That game kicks a lot of ass. Like, get a friend, get a partner, play Gunstar Heroes. That shit is insanely good. Like, that is one of the best games of its kind. Like a two-player co-op arcade high action game. Incredible. I love that game from what I played of it. And I liked Vector Man. I like Vector Man a lot. So like, I guess if I had to like try to like keep it to like one per series, I think those would probably be my picks. Yeah, I think so.
Have we
honorable
sorry,
mention to whichever the Mickey Mouse Illusion game was, because I don't remember which one. What was your question, Jack?
Have we talked about the CD?
I was gonna say,
do we want to talk about the CD and the 32X? We can talk. We can talk about it after.
I mean, like, I don't think there's enough to say about them to have their own episode. So I would say let's mention the CD and the 32X.
Let Landon talk about his favorite Genesis games real quick, and then we can get into that real quick.
Okay. Best Genesis game all time, hands down.
Your favorite?
My favorite. It's got to be Sonic 3D Blast, baby.
I knew you were going to say that. Sonic 3D Blast, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
The Genesis version.
The Genesis version specifically. Don't shake it any other way. Probably Sonic 2. Now,
one of the only times Landon and I will ever agree on something this big.
Probably. I mean, it's probably Sonic 3D Blast. And then, I mean, if I'm going to be real, it's probably Sonic and Knuckles, and then Sonic 2, and then Sonic 1, and then Sonic 3D Blast, and then Vector Man.
And then Ristar.
I like how he did not mention
and then
Sonic
Golden Axe.
3.
That was on purpose. That was
Sonic 3 doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think my bigger issue is, like, I've played some stuff, like Shining Force I played a bit of, Phantasy Star 2 I played a bit of, but there's a lot of stuff I really want to play, like Landstalker, Beyond Oasis, Phantasy Star 3,
well,
Phantasy Star
that
4.
Is a question that's a question I had on here that
I know.
I wanted to ask after we so I guess we'll have to do that before. You know, we're kicking Jack's desire to talk about the 32X and CD back just a little bit longer.
It's not even a desire. I don't even have the. I don't care that much. I just think we should
just
talk
bring it
about
up and mention it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
but let's get into what games we would like to play.
There's this is like the first time that he's like asking this question, and I'm like, yeah, I have games that I want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, I usually ask this about Nintendo consoles, and Landon's already played like almost every Nintendo game he wants to play on a Nintendo console.
More or less, like I still have some, but yes. So like those answers. So like Shining in the Darkness, Shining Force 1, I should actually beat. Shining Force 2, I don't know if I'll ever. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know if I'll ever. Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4, Landstalker, Beyond Oasis.
You did start playing Phantasy Star 2. All hail ground map, by the way.
I did, and I like played it on a real console, like a real boy with a real ground map, and that shit stank as hell. I like the world.
The game is fucking hard.
I like a lot of things about the game. But it is like the difficulty in that game is way too big.
If it makes you feel any better, the only way I was able to get through Phantasy Star 2 was to go outside of cities a lot on the Sega Genesis Classics version and fast forward, grind through a fuck ton of encounters.
Yeah.
Every time I made progress, every single time. And it doesn't help that every new character you get is level 1, so you better fucking get that character ground up all the way to the levels that you did.
Yeah,
that sucks ass.
Yeah,
that's
and
why
the level ups do get kind of slow.
That's why I'd rather just play like a mediocre game like Phantasy Star 3.
Phantasy Star 3 is the opposite problem. It is easy and boring, but you could get through it.
Yeah.
I will say 4 is in my opinion the best one of the three.
That's the one I want to play. I want to play Age's version of Phantasy Star 1, and I want to play some version of Phantasy Star 4 for show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like a lot of the RPGs for the console I want to play. So I think I named them all off. All of the ones I want to play. There's a decent amount.
Have you played Crusader of Senti? That's the one that's like somewhat like a Zelda game. It's like a top-down adventure,
how much is that?
Action adventure.
Is that how many monies is that?
How many monies is that?
Too many monies.
Probably.
However much you think, it's more than that.
Even though I've played the most Genesis games out of anyone here, most likely, there's still a lot that I have not played all the way through that I would like to play one day. I never did finish, because the thing about Genesis games is because a lot of them are either meant to feel like or are ports of arcade games. A lot of them are hard. Like Super Nintendo games, they were challenging, but they were made as like console games in mind first and were beatable. But there's a lot of Genesis games that are just hard.
Yeah, for sure.
I would like to play through the Vector Man games again one day. I played through a lot of Vector Man 1, but I didn't play too much of Vector Man 2, so I'd like to play through that. Golden Axe is another game where like I feel like I want to get somebody to like play through it with me. Shining Force I've been interested in playing. I really want to play through Mega Man the Wily Wars. Like I love the classic Mega Man games, and like the way that they did like all 3 of the originals and then like mixed it all together for like a bonus like end game section with the Wily Tower seems pretty cool. I am also interested in Sword of Vermilion. I haven't heard that it's like the best game ever, but like it's really interesting that it's like an RPG that's like super early into the Genesis lifespan. Like I think this came out like 1990 or something like that. So like it's super. Oh my god!
Oh no!
All right, for the listeners, Crusader of Senti complete unbox is $1,700. Is that like a standard listing? Like that's what most like sellers are pretty much selling that at? Right?
There is a repro version for $55. So there's
that's a repro, but that doesn't count.
That's why I was like, oh, let me scroll down, and no, that's like a real. That's
just a normal listing. Oh Jesus, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness,
1,650. Like oh my.
I checked like Game Eye, the app I use to to catalog my stuff, it pulls some of that data into it for like pricing.
It is on Nintendo Switch Online, at least. You could just play it.
I'll probably play it through that. But I was like, what's it cost? Because and I was like, the complete in box, not new sealed, but the complete in box one was like $1,700. So I was like, all right, sometimes this app is not 100% true. Let me just check eBay. Fuck.
Yeah.
Immediate. Fuck.
Yeah.
The cartridge by
rating.
itself, $450. Fuck.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What are we doing here, folks? Yeah.
That's insane.
Fuck this place.
The retro gaming market is
it's cause
terrible.
Yeah, it's cause some of those games on the Genesis, like as Jack had noted from checking the Wikipedia page for the bestsellers, there's a lot of Genesis games did not sell well.
Yeah.
Even though they're considered classic, they did not sell well. They did not have a lot of copies out there. They because this was a time like the Super Nintendo, they managed to like get more copies out there, but this was a time where like it was normal for like cartridges to cost, like we talk about like the cost of video games now, and it is really bad because of like add-on content and like just the rate of like our weight, like the rate of like how much money people make hasn't kept up with inflation. Like there's a whole thing, but like games back then did cost at times like upwards of like $80 or so, and like Phantasy Star 4 was a $100 game when it launched, mind you.
Yeah.
In 1994.
Yeesh.
So it was not a good time if you wanted to play
how much did
Genesis
that cost
cartridges.
in today's money? Let's see. We're
But
gonna say
but I really want to play Sword of Vermilion. I'm pretty sure that's on the Sega Genesis Classics. Like the game, not the thing. It might be on NSO as well, but
$226, by the way.
okay, so I overshot it, but that's still
It's a lot of money for a video game, though.
It's not as much as a loose copy of Crusader of Senti.
No, it is not.
So there's that. But yeah, Sword of Vermilion. A big one for me is actually Pulse Man, because that is a Game Freak game, and I like to like go into Game Freak's back catalog. I've been like dipping into stuff. I played like Mendel Pals, which was an NES game. Pulse Man seems pretty fun and interesting. It's a very weird, unique gimmick. There's quite a lot of Genesis games that I want to play one day. I know we didn't get to talk about it too much besides my like one comment, but I don't know if you guys got to play any of it. I did play Zero Wing a little bit way back in the day.
I've not.
No. It is a completely average side-scrolling shoot 'em up. It is nothing special outside of the memes with the really bad English translation. Like it is. It's not a bad game, but there's like if you're comparing that to shit like Space Harrier or like Gradius or R-Type or whatever the fuck kind of shoot 'em up you want to talk about, like it is nothing on that level. Like it's just there. It's fine. So yeah, no, there's a lot of Genesis games I still want to play. If I end up liking Castlevania when I get into the series one day, Bloodlines I've heard is really good. A lot of people didn't originally like it, but I've heard people are coming around on it and like getting appreciation for it. So like that's another game where like apparently Capcom was cooking, and I'd like to play more of that. Yeah, no, like when I look at the Genesis catalog, I'm always like, damn, there's so much here that I got to try out sometime. It's just like I said, sometimes the difficulty level of some of these games, I have to be like, is this going to be one of those games I can beat or no? Because they're challenging games sometimes. Thankfully, with compilations and NSO and stuff like that, you can cheese through it. It's fine. You can save state, you can rewind, you can do whatever.
On a smaller scale, the Genesis is kind of like the Wii in that regard, where a lot of the more acclaimed and beloved titles on the system did not sell very well. Like you kind of have to dig to find some of the more like better games.
But are there any games in particular that stick out that you'd like to play one day, Jack?
Definitely Phantasy Star 4, maybe 2 and 3 one day if I'm feeling saucy.
It helps. The only thing that playing the older games does is like you might get a couple references here and there, and like there's some extra world building that you might appreciate more. But because the games are like 1,000 years apart for like each game, you don't the actual stories are completely isolated. You don't have to play them in a particular order. You can. Sick. I started with 4, and I don't feel like I lost anything.
What we'll do is I'll just give him the PDF for the TTRPG, and he can just read through the entire like history for Phantasy Star.
You could just LARP the first 3 games. It's fine.
Yeah.
We can do it.
I guess let's see. What else haven't I don't have a ton of it. You know what? One game that I have not played a lot of and I'd really like to play one day is Decap Attack.
Oh.
Never actually heard of that one.
It was on the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection.
Oh, so I have that game then somewhere. I just have to try it out.
It's a platformer where you play as a mummy and you like you throw your severed head at people, and it's pretty badass.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Probably like I would like to try Shinobi 3.
Shinobi games. The Shinobi games are
Shinobi 3.
I honestly have not played a ton of Vector Man. And I would like to, like, I've played the first Vector Man a little bit, but I never really got like that into it, so I definitely want to try that one day. Let's see. Shining Force, Shining in the Darkness, a lot of the RPGs on the Genesis I haven't really, I don't think I've played any of them, if I'm being honest.
It wasn't actually known as an RPG console. Like, they're there, but the Super Nintendo is the RPG console for all intents and purposes.
For sure.
And that is because Squaresoft. Enough said.
Yep.
And NX. NX was not really present on the Genesis as much as they were on the Super Nintendo. So, yeah.
I will say though, the Genesis was definitely more of the beat 'em up system than the Super Nintendo was.
You had a lot of beat 'em ups, shoot 'em ups,
Altered Beast, fucking Golden Axe, Streets of Rage. You have fucking Comics Zone, other shit like that. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't really delved that far into that I would like to try out one day.
All right. One last thing before I want to mention before we jump into the quick talk about the 32X and CD is that thankfully, unlike a lot of our other previous episodes where we're like, oh, what would we like to play one day? Sometimes we might be, it might be like a pipe dream whether we even get to play those games because depending on the system, it might be hard to actually get the chance to play them. With these, it's really just a matter of what game compilation has what game.
Pretty much.
Because a lot of these games are on at least one of them. You just got to figure out which one it's on. Yeah. And some of these games are on multiple, so you could just pick whichever one is the best fit for you. So whether it's Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, Sega Genesis Classics, the game, Sega Genesis Classics, the NSO software, or maybe you want to be cheeky and you want to play Sega 3D Classics Collection, might be a smaller package, but whatever, you do you. If you want to be a weirdo, you could play Sonic Gems Collection or Sonic Mega Collection Plus and play these games that are unlocked through them.
Don't do that.
There's a lot of options. I'm not saying they're all great options. There are options. So, yeah.
There sure are.
CD and 32X, those are both attachments to the Sega Genesis, and they did have their own libraries. I will say, I have almost no experience with anything on these platforms. I have played Knuckles' Chaotix once. I have played Sonic CD on other platforms besides the Sega CD, and I am interested in Lunar Silver Star. That's it. That's all I can say.
Damn.
I would really like to play Lunar. Lunar's on a bunch of different systems though, so I don't have to play the Sega CD original if I don't want to. But there's a lot of
they just re-released
that game is good.
Lunar for Switch. So
Yeah, a
Telling
few
me you
years
don't
ago
wanna-
they had a collection of like that and like another and like the second one I think
Yeah.
it was like two.
Yeah, it was like last year or whatever. But yeah. You
tell me you don't want to play Night Trap, Cloud?
It's probably a fine game from what I've heard, but like
It's
it's not my kind of game. I don't play those kind of adventure like point and click like FMV based ones.
It's
whatever.
not really worth playing, honestly. It's the most notable thing about Night Trap is that it's one of the 2 games that is responsible for the ESRB in implementing the M rating.
And
even
it was
though people
it
were-
was the tamer one.
It was quite literally like a game where you are saving these like women at a sleepover from being abducted by criminals, but for some reason everyone had the idea in their minds that you were playing as the criminals and you were like violating these poor women. It's like, no, not even the case. But for some reason everyone thought that's what it was. I don't know why. I guess no one actually played it.
I mean, this was Night Trap, a Sega CD game.
Yeah.
So that I think that explains enough already.
Yep.
I don't know. What about you, Landon? Do you have any experience or desire to experience Sega CD or 32X games? Does anybody actually know any 32X games besides Knuckles Chaotix? Because I will be quite honest with you, I don't.
Gun to my head, I don't think I can name a single one.
Was there a Mike Tyson fighting game? I don't know.
Let me
Shaq
see.
Fu. Is that the answer?
The 32. Oh, it has Doom.
Al
According
says
to Al.
Doom. Enough said.
The 32X sold 665,000 units.
It came out the same year that the Saturn would ultimately come out because Sega of America and Sega of Japan did not agree on what they wanted to do with their like market, because Japan was like, well, the Mega Drive is dead over here, we need new hardware, and Sega of America was like, the Genesis is doing fucking fantastic, we don't want to get rid of it yet. And there was a lot of weird shit going on with that. So, and then the 32X ended up in bargain bins for $20. It was great.
The 32X, let's see. We have Corpse Killer, which sounds interesting.
Okay.
Virtual Racing Deluxe, Star Wars Arcade.
Al said he has Doom for 32X. That is one more 32X game than I have.
Yeah. WWF Raw.
Nice. Got a
let's
WWF
see.
game.
Supreme Warrior. Star Trek Starfleet Academy Starship Bridge Simulator.
That's
a mouthful.
And
Yeah.
which was
Bless
also
you.
released on the Super Nintendo.
Oh. I'll just skip that one.
Space Harrier.
Yeah.
They put Space Harrier on the 32X.
Weird.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it probably looks and more arcade accurate than just what the Genesis could produce.
We have Slam City with Scottie Pippen.
That sounds
Sure.
like a good. That sounds like a good time, but it probably is not. I'll look into it
Probably not.
just because of the name.
We have NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
I feel like we'd probably be better off looking into Sega CD games, because I have heard there's like some decent ones out there.
I think
The only ones I know are Sonic CD and Lunar, but
I think
I'm
the
sure
answer is there's
more.
nothing worth talking about on either of these consoles.
That is, yeah, honestly.
I will say
Sega of America was up to some weird bullshit trying to make the Genesis this weird Frankenstein's monster with 3 different game libraries.
Sonic CD is probably the worst Sonic CD is probably the worst Sega CD game I've ever experienced. It is also the only Sega CD I've currently experienced, but it'll probably go down as
Fair.
the worst game of all time.
By default, also the best one.
You should play Lunar, so that way there you can say that Sonic CD is the worst.
That I've played.
Because I guarantee you'll probably enjoy Lunar more than Sonic
I
CD.
definitely probably would.
It's an RPG, and it's a good one.
Have to point out on the Sega CD, it has 2 titles. In North America, it was called Championship Soccer 94, but in PAL regions, they called it Sensible Soccer.
Sensible
Sensible
soccer.
soccer.
Sensible.
Sensible soccer.
Okay.
One thing really, really quick before you
Yep.
completely wrap it up. Why the fuck did they get rid of the plastic cases and they go to paper fucking
Oh, yeah.
cardboard?
Fucking
Fucking
bullshit.
I know it was costs. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
And the sad thing is like the Super Nintendo never had the cases. So like it was really cool that the Genesis had these plastic cases, and then
Yeah.
late in the life cycle they just said no more of that, just plastic boxes.
Was the Genesis
Or
the
not
first?
plastic, not the cardboard boxes.
I don't remember if the Master System did or not. They may have. Was the Genesis the
The-
first system to have plastic cases for
No,
games?
Master System had plastic boxes.
Yeah, Master
Okay.
System did as well.
It was a weird thing that Sega did at the time. Like, even though you technically don't need plastic boxes for cartridges to be stored, like they did it anyway, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Like,
It pisses me off as someone who like semi collects Jesus Genesis games that is like trying to figure out what released when, to where it has like if I want to just get it card only, if I want to try and go for like complete in box. It's like
Yeah,
trying to figure
sure.
that out
Yeah.
is annoying.
because if it's not in a plastic box, you may as well just get a loose cart. Because why would you want a cardboard box that's probably been beaten the fuck up over the years?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing I deal like any of my consoles that I collect for. If it has a cardboard box, no thanks. If it has a plastic case, then I try and collect
You'll
the
try,
complete
yeah.
in box. So like
Yeah.
DS, 3DS, yes. Game Boy Advance, no.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Except that one time that I bought you something complete in box because it happened to be in decent enough condition.
Yeah. And
And I was like, oh, that's cool.
that's different.
Yeah.
But I don't go out of my way to
Different.
go for complete in box.
Correct. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So final thoughts on the Sega Genesis. How do we feel about it? How do we feel about the game library, the console itself, its legacy?
Cool system that I respect more than I actually enjoy. Nothing against the console itself, and I'm not even saying I don't enjoy the Sega Genesis. I just personally don't have a lot of experience with it.
Fair. I'm the biggest stan for the system of the three of us, at least. I adore the Genesis. I think that its library caters to a different audience a lot of the time than the Super Nintendo, and I think that both of those systems and their libraries of games were able to really just coexist pretty well. There's a reason why why the Sega Genesis is still considered such a great system, even though it sold, honestly, if you compare it to like consoles nowadays, it kind of sold like shit. Like,
Yeah,
outside-
30 million's not a lot.
yeah. I mean, in North America, 20 million is totally fine. It's still decent
Yeah.
to this day. But like when you talk about like total worldwide sales of 30 million, that didn't even do as well as the N64. We talked about the
Yeah.
N64 that did not sell well, got completely obliterated by the PlayStation, still outsold the Sega Genesis worldwide by most metrics, by like what we are able to like tell. Like if you're counting the third party like Sega Genesis consoles that went out, yeah, it gets a little hazy. But if you just count Sega versus Nintendo, Sega Genesis versus N64, N64 sold better, and that's kind of funny. That just goes to show that like the sales figures of a system are really weird, funny, and not worth like factoring into too seriously into a console's relative success sometimes.
Yep.
I don't know. I love the Genesis. I think it's a fantastic console. I think that it is the least important console as far as actually owning one, because trust me, you don't have to have one. All of the good games out there, they're out there some other way. You don't need a Genesis. Yeah, it'd be cool to have one. I have behind me a Sega Genesis Mini that Allison has, and it's another really cool way to play Genesis games, by the way. But you don't need an actual Genesis. You have all the options in the world, more than any other console, more than any other games out there. So it's one of those things where like just like with like Nintendo's back catalog, like there's just been so much support. And I like that. I like that they've managed to continually re-release these games, because it's just good to be able to have these old games continually available. So it's one of my favorite consoles of all time. great library. I think more people should play a lot of the hidden gems that it has to offer, because it's got a very good library that has a lot of games that have not been played by nearly enough people. And that's how I feel about the Sega Genesis. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Landon, how do you feel about the Sega Genesis?
I enjoy it. I like it. I think the legacy it's funny because you have the amalgamations that you can add onto it, and kind of broke Sega in some fashions. So it's funny that it's one of the most celebrated consoles when it's also like
it became a Frankenstein's monster that killed that killed them slowly over the next decade.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that. So it's a funny console. It's one that when I was really getting into collecting, when I first started and had like a paycheck and like was able to like go and like hunt and collect,
make bad financial decisions,
so I can make bad financial decisions, because little treats. We all live in the little treat economy now. And this was 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago. Why not?
Now we call it doom spending.
Yeah. So yeah, I got into it and I enjoy it. It's a cool console. Design wise, the original model is sick as fuck. Design wise, the original controller is sick, but in a different way. Needed more buttons. Yeah, they needed more buttons.
It suffered from button malnutrition.
Yes, so it was quite literally sick. But yeah, overall, it was a good console. It has a great library of stuff, depending on what you're looking for. But you can find good stuff in pretty much all genres that it supported. So 6 out of 10, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Jack, you want to go ahead and tell everybody what we have been up to as far as streams and our typical, outreach for our channel? And,
is it still the same too for the gold tier Stooges?
I'm looking it up, and it is. Hold on.
Is it still Alan Bryan?
Yep.
Okay, I'll get on it. All right. I'm gonna take a drink before I do this whole ad read because I am thirsty. Hydration is important, folks. Hey everybody, Jack from the Gaming Stooges here to tell you about the Gaming Stooges Patreon. You can subscribe to us at patreon.com/GamingStooges for either $3 or $5 a month, the silver and gold Stooge tiers respectively. I always fuck that up, don't worry. At the Silver Stooge tier, you get access to exclusive videos that we post on a monthly basis, including fun one-off videos like tier lists or alignment charts or tabletop games like Delta Green, which we have done many sessions of. In addition to that, you also get access to voting rights on future content, including future stream titles and podcast topics. Cloud mentioned earlier that this podcast topic was a poll loser. Between this and the Nintendo 64, as voted by you, the patrons of patreon.com/GamingStooges.
Bing, bing, bing.
Soldier Boy, tell him. At the Gold Stooges tier, you get everything included in the Silver Stooge tier, in addition to a personal shout-out from us as a show of our appreciation. Shout-out to Brian, and shout-out to Al, who are our two Gold tier Stooges. There's got to be an easier way to say that so I don't fuck my words every time.
I probably should rename the tiers so they're not fucking weird.
That's okay. Gold tier Stooges. I just mess it up every time. Streams. As far as streams lately, Landon just recently got to Endgame in Dragon Quest VI. He is nearing the end of the game. I asked him if he would be finishing it this week, and he said no. So maybe next week.
He's getting close. So.
He's getting close, though. Cloud, you're still playing Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. How is that going?
It's okay. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. There's aspects of the game that I don't care for that other people love. And then there's aspects of the game that I actually kind of like that other people don't usually talk that much about. I feel like the game is actually the most enjoyable when you try to break it open, though. It is not a fun time, in my opinion, if you're just trying to play it like a normal Final Fantasy game, because the whole way that it works is just not conducive to being played like a normal Final Fantasy RPG. It is much easier to just break the game open and then just blitz through parts of the game, which is what we're doing, and I've actually been enjoying it a little bit. But I have not been playing Triple Triad, which is the thing that most people love about the game. I don't like it because I'm not good at it and I can't get good cards to be good at it. So we're not doing Triple Triad much unless I decide I want to like switch it up a bit. But I am making use of like the Guardian Force abilities to like make a bunch of like stuff that I should not reasonably have this early in the game, and then just breaking the game that way. And it's fun. But I will say, if like you're trying to play Final Fantasy VIII and you really want to play it, don't play it like a normal Final Fantasy game. Like just break the game open and just like bend it to your whims so that you can have a good time with it, because I can't take it seriously enough to do it the other way. The plot and the characters are good though. Like I know some people might try to harp on the story and the characters, but like the story and the characters are good. I just don't like playing the game part. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's been okay. Jack, you have been playing more Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition.
Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, which I just recently got the physical copy of. I was playing it through the downloaded upgrade that was available early on to play the game, and because I love this game, I double dipped and just got the physical cart as well. I'm still having a blast with it. I've been cruising through the game, to be honest. Like, not that it's been like easy, but it's like I'm doing pretty well. Like, covering a lot of the side quests really does a lot in terms of helping you get enough experience to keep up with the enemies in the game.
I'm surprised you've gotten as far as you have already, but to be fair, being able to drive around in the car probably helps.
Yes, I think the ether jet definitely saves a lot of walking time in the game, and I appreciate that to some extent. Not that I ever had like an issue with walking around everywhere, because honestly, Xenoblade is just a massive game that I never really minded walking around that much, especially because like fast travel points are more like fairly common, and you can fast travel literally anywhere, anytime you want. It's been a blast though. I just recently passed the 40-hour mark. I'm currently in the Mechonis field, and I just got to level 60 with all of my current party members. So we're making good progress for sure.
Nice. I definitely am interested more in playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition now that it has that Switch 2 upgrade, just because now like I know it won't be a daunting task to play through it because I'll have ways to get through the game a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So like it's moved up a little bit in like my like backlog of games, so I'll try and get to it maybe sometime next year. We'll see. I'm glad you're enjoying your what is this? Your third, fourth playthrough, fifth playthrough, 10th playthrough?
It's technically my second full playthrough of the game. I did play back when this one came out in 2020. I played like around 20 hours or so, and I think I was at like level 37 when I stopped. I did not get super far though. Like, I got to Frontier Village and I got Ricky and Melia in the party, but I didn't get very far after that. To be honest, 2020 was taken up a lot by Animal Crossing and Persona 5 Royal, so it just kind of fell by the wayside at a certain point, and I just never got back to it. But streaming it again has given me a good way to replay the game, and honestly, like with my current format of streaming on Monday afternoons, usually for 3 to 4 hours, it makes me feel like I get the itch to just play Xenoblade even when I'm not streaming it, and that doesn't happen very often for games that I'm streaming, because normally I like play enough in a week that I'm like, you know, satisfied, but Xenoblade I could sit down and play for like 10 hours at a time, honestly.
All right. So you already mentioned the last Patreon exclusive that we did.
Oh, current
did our
Patreon
Astrobot
exclusive
review.
video, we have Cloud and I have a review of Astrobot that you can go watch.
It was a good
It's,
discussion.
It's a good discussion, good review. We pretty much just glazed the game for an hour, but that's because it deserves to be glazed.
It does.
And we will use that as a transition into what we've been up to, because I usually start. Recently, over the past couple weeks, I completely finished Astrobot. I 100%ed the game. I got all of the bots. I got all of the bots accessories. I got every gacha pull. I got every skin, every controller color, completed all of the levels, got all of the puzzle pieces. I did everything. Those last two, like, ultimate levels that the game throws at you are fucking brutal, especially the one that requires use of the different abilities. I thought it would be like a super long, like, gauntlet level where you have to use, like, all 9 abilities that the game gives you. It's only 3 of them, actually, and the level actually, like, because I got to a certain point in the level where I thought, man, I still have a ways to go. Like, I got to a part that I just, like, could not get past on a couple different attempts, and I'm just like, man, this level's kicking my ass. And then I looked up, like, just to see how much more I had to go, I looked up, like, a full playthrough of the level on YouTube just to be like, all right, what else do I have to expect in this level? That was literally the last thing to do in the level, so I'm just like, oh, I can beat this shit easy. And then I did it in, like, an hour.
So
it was still really...
It sounds like they split things up really well, even for like the hardest challenges.
It was still really hard, but, like, yeah, no, it's the last 2 levels of the game are very difficult. It's very much like a Grandmaster Galaxy from Galaxy 2, and then the ultimate level from Mario Wonder, where it makes you use, like, the various abilities you've acquired over the course of the game.
So you must have enjoyed it, though, since you played you must have, like, really loved the game since you were managed to 100% it.
Yes,
I still have to go back and do that.
I loved Astrobot. I greatly enjoyed it, start to finish. Highly recommend it. It's hard to recommend to people because the caveat is owning a PS5, and
there's 95 million PS5s out there. It's
I know. I'm just saying, if you don't have one already,
yeah,
I can't
fair.
say that it's like
that's fair. Don't go out and buy a PS5 just for this game now if you don't have one, because it's
See, I bought a PS5 to play Astrobot and to have a 4K player, so it worked out. I'm getting good use out of it. Aside from that, though, I guess I can talk about these 2 that I got in the mail. I got Just Shapes and Beats physical in the mail the other day. Just Shapes and Beats. And then I'll, like, saw my keyboard in half like he did in the
in the video.
In addition to that, Cloud, as a late birthday present because it just took forever to get here. Yeah. Thank you to Customs, the Tori collection. I'm hiding the rating for Landon so that he can safely view the screen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oops, my hand.
No, my eyes.
Yeah, it was published by Super Rare Games, and that was also partially their fault that it took so long, because originally they were like, oh, we're gonna ship it in June, and then June came around, delayed. They were like, oh, we're actually not shipping it until late July, and then they finally started shipping them. And then it also it got stuck in customs over in Chicago specifically for you. They decided to hold on to your game for an extra couple of days, so that was
Thank
fun.
you, Chicago. Very cool. But yeah, Tori collection. I look forward to playing a lot of the games that this collection has to offer, because there's actually a fuckload of them. I'm hiding the rating, Landon. It's okay.
I couldn't tell because
it's like all of the games from that developer up to that point.
There was so much
really
pus
cool.
in my eyes because you showed it to me once.
I showed it to you once for half a second, and that was enough. Oh, fuck. Ooh. In addition to that, I recently purchased and have been playing Splatoon Raiders.
Oh, yeah? How is that?
I love this game so far. It's like very addicting like gameplay loop where it is like it's basically just like Salmon Run from the previous games, which if you're not aware is just kind of like a like fighting waves and hordes of enemies to clear levels. It's kind of like Call of Duty Zombies, only in the sense like only some levels are going to be like isolated areas, but some of them like you explore around and you just fight enemies as they appear. But it's very fun. It definitely has like some looter shooter elements where you acquire like weapons of different levels and they have like different like rarity ratings and attributes. And it also has like, you know, RPG elements where like you level up and you have like different, I guess like I equate them to badges from Paper Mario where like on your special weapons you can like add badges or like different bonuses, I guess, to them to just make them stronger, and you have like a limited amount, like you have like 12 slot or you have 10 slots to start, and then they like depending on the how strong the badge is, it's like, oh, this one is worth like 1 point, or this one is worth 6 or 8 or however many. It's very, very fun, honestly. I highly recommend it. It's it makes me want to go back and play Splatoon multiplayer, and also doesn't make me want to do that because I want to just keep playing this game. But I recommend it. If you've played any of the Splatoon games before, and even if you haven't, this game is really fun. And that's pretty much what I've been up to the past couple weeks.
Okay. I have been mostly gaming, but I do have actually one interesting thing that's not gaming related that I can talk about as well, which I'll mention first. Yes, over the course of 5 days, Allison and I binged all of the currently available episodes for an anime called The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. It is ridiculous. It is a harem anime that absolutely makes fun of the fact that it is a harem anime. It is self-aware. It has a lot of references to other anime, video games, pop culture, like movies and stuff. It's really funny.
Is it kind of like Konosuba in that sense, where it's just kind of like taking the piss out of the trope that it's like portraying?
I guess so. I haven't watched
like,
Konosuba to know.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, like, Konosuba is just kind of like, it's an isekai, but it kind of takes the piss out of isekais in that sense, where, like, everybody's just kind of a dipshit, and, like, it's, like, goes through a lot of, like, the very famous tropes that isekais have, but, like, it, you know, in a comedic way.
I think that's probably accurate, yeah. It takes the harem, like, aspect of the show, and it, like, just... And I mean, it's manga as well, but it like just exacerbates it, and it just like, it knows it's ridiculous, so it just goes over the top with it, and it just has fun with it. Like the first season, it starts with like like your like kind of girl next door, but she's also low-key like a nymphomaniac freak, and then the tsundere, and they're like the two starting girls, and then the end of the first season there's like a whole story arc where like the mom of the nymphomaniac girl next door type like locks her up because she's afraid of her getting hurt, and then he starts dating the mom and the daughter at the same time as one of the girlfriends. Like, it's so stupid and it's so dumb, but like they make fun of it, and it's really funny. I think my favorite of the girlfriends is like the shy bookworm librarian girl, because she's like yay tall, and like she doesn't talk like herself, so like because she's so shy, so the main character got her an app on her phone and imported all of the books that he knows that she likes to read, and she goes to like different lines in the book and then like taps on them, and the text to speech talks for her, and it's just it's the silliest thing. Like I said, they take tropes and they just go, all right, let's just go all the way with it. Don't even try to pretend that this isn't stupid as shit. They just go all the way with it, and I love it. We're 29 episodes in, and that's all the episodes that are out now, so we have to wait on new episodes, and it is going to be interesting because we didn't want to put the show down. It was so laugh out loud. If you're looking for a good, ridiculous, over the top anime to just like make you laugh, Like the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You is really funny. I recommend it. As long as you're okay with putting up with some of the weird, stupid bullshit because it is one of those weird, stupid bullshit anime as well. Like you have to kind of just like go in expecting that, but it is going to make fun of it at the same time. So it's good. It's a good show. As far as gaming though, I have been playing more Golden Sun: The Lost Age mostly. I am actually near the end of the game. I'm in the middle of the final dungeon. I was like kind of like only playing it at work, and then like I started making a lot of progress and getting a lot of momentum. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try and batten down the hatches and try to knock some more of this game out. And I started playing it at home. And now I'm just about at the end. I'm really excited to get it finished. I'm really enjoying it. I definitely am glad I finally got around to it. Like it's gotten better the longer the game has gone on. So it's definitely one of my favorite Game Boy Advance games now. I love it.
Hell yeah.
I also have still been playing Metroid Prime on GameCube. It's been a little slow going because I got to the Phazon mines at one point, and that shit just like hard-walled me because it was so frustrating. Like outside of the Phazon mines, I'm having an excellent time with this game. It is a little janky because it's, a GameCube game that is, the controls
First person.
Yeah, first person, but it tries to do platforming elements, so like it is a little janky in that regard, but it still controls really well. I just had such a hard time with the Phazon mines. It is so brutal.
I would be curious to know how you would do with the extra stick, like in Metroid Prime Remastered, or even just like the pointer controls on the Prime trilogy. But because like I feel like
maybe not anytime soon, but I am interested in playing remastered one day. Like
I would like it definitely makes like some of the harder sections of the game like more manageable, just because like having the second stick like does wonders for aiming. It's smooth as butter, honestly.
Does it still have the lock on that lets you just like snap to sit?
Yeah, you can still lock on even with the second stick.
Okay, that's cool. So yeah, I've been playing that. I'm getting pretty close to the end. I'm doing the roundup of collecting all the rest of the Chozo artifacts so I can go to the final area of the game and wrap the game up. So I'm probably going to finish that pretty soon. Like I said, outside of Phazon Mines, I've been having a great time with it. I just fuck the Phazon Mines. Just fuck the Phazon Mines. That shit was brutal. Like I died so many times and made very little progress at points just because it was hard walling me at points. And there's some dumb shit in that area. If there is nothing that bad in Metroid Prime 2, I will feel so thankful. I've heard Jack mentioned that it seems to be a harder game, but Landon also says there was nothing as bad as the Phazon Mines. So
it is a harder game overall, but yeah, I think the Phazon Mines in Prime 1 is a more difficult area than anything that Prime 2 has.
So maybe we'll see how I feel about Echoes when I get to it, because I'm planning to get to it pretty soon. Like I'm expecting to get to Echoes hopefully between Beast of Reincarnation, which I am going to talk about in a second, and Trails in the Sky second chapter, try to start in that ballpark. Or maybe I'll make Metroid Prime 2 my at-home game and I play Trails in the Sky second at work. We'll see. I don't know. I do want to get to Prime 2 Echoes pretty soon though. But I've been enjoying Metroid Prime overall at least, so it's been good. And then I have been playing Beast of Reincarnation. I might as well just talk about it. That is a new game from Game Freak for the PS5, Xbox, and PC. It's been fun so far. I played a little bit more today just to get a little bit more of a grasp on it. I played it for a few hours so far. It wears its inspirations on its sleeve, and that's not necessarily for the better sometimes. I feel like it sometimes has a hard time stepping out of the shadow of those inspirations. You've got some Princess Mononoke, you've got some Nier Automata in there, a lot of people have mentioned Sekiro. I haven't played it, so I don't know if that's right or not, but I guess Sekiro is fairly similar in some regards. It's the ever so slightest bit a little bit Souls-like, because you have parrying, dodging, going to campfires to rest and stuff like that, but most of it's not. Most of the Souls comparisons end there pretty much. It's got a beautiful environment. Like, I love exploring the areas. It does feel a little janky to traverse though, because the main character kind of clip and catch on stuff that like you're trying to get around, because there's a lot of like elevation differences and a lot of obstructions and like area, like different, like it's very detailed environments, but it looks really nice. The combat is fun. You have parrying, guarding, evading. You get a standard attack. There's like a skill attack that is context sensitive as to what point in the combo you do that attack. So like you can do different attacks that way. The Ku, your dog companion that you play with, you can like raise a... for those who played Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's like an ATB system where like you can slow down time and then go into a command menu. It's kind of like that. Where like you'll slow down time and then there's a command menu for Ku and you can like choose what you want to do with him, and then there'll be like a timed button press to like do like more damage or just to get a better effect out of the attack. And you can equip different skills to him too, so you can like kind of pick and choose as you like level him up what you want him to do. There's a skill tree system where you can like kind of tune different stuff, and that's all pretty good. The story, I haven't played enough of it to judge, but the main character seems a little too much of like a stoic Mary Sue. Like, she has like no personality yet, but there was like a flashback sequence where it seemed like they were trying to build into like she's kind of this way because, but I don't know because I haven't played more. I'll have to play more. It's interesting enough though, so I'm gonna play more of it. One of my biggest complaints, and this is something that Game Freak, I think, had addressed in a statement, because they said that they were taking feedback and they're going to try to fix it, is the performance is not great sometimes. There is a performance mode and a quality mode for your graphic settings, and I picked performance mode because I'd like the smoother frame rate because it is a more action-oriented game. And it still has frame rate stutters. Like, rather than just knock the fucking resolution down as much as you need to keep 60 FPS, if there's too much going on, like if you've got the camera focused on an area that's really busy, or there's a lot of enemies doing a lot of shit at once, like the frame rate can stutter. I feel like it goes into like the 40s sometimes. So like that is a problem that needs to be addressed. The performance mode, even in performance mode, that should be better suited for the frame rate, does not have great frame rate. I think that is like one of the biggest problems with the game. And that, and the UI, they try to like keep it really clean. So like when you're traversing and moving around, like the UI is pretty minimal unless you're like in combat and you do certain things, which is nice, but they don't give me enough options to like fine tune what I want to see. And it would be nice if there was like a mini map or something that I could just have instead of opening the map screen all the time. Because when I want to see where I want to go, I literally have to open the map screen, which is part of the pause screen that has all the other fucking settings and stuff like that. And it would be nice if I could just kind of see a rough outline of where I'm going, because most games with big wide open areas have that. And for some reason, this game does not have that. And you know what game also didn't have that? Was Sonic Frontiers. But at least Sonic Frontiers had like that weird like line that like as you're like turning towards stuff, it'll like come into view. I don't know what they call that bar, where like they have like icons to like represent stuff, and as you're like, it's like a compass of sorts. Like this game doesn't even have that. So like traversing the areas without using the map is kind of a pain in the ass. So like I have my gripes. It's good. I feel like it's one of those games where like I'm glad Game Freak did this game, because they only ever fucking do Pokemon most of the time. And when they don't do Pokemon, sometimes it goes really poorly, like Little Town Hero, from what I've heard, is not a good time. But this game's good enough. It's just I want them to iron out the edges, because it has potential. It's not quite there. If you're interested in it, I would say wait for a sale. It's one of those games where I think if it's like $30 or $40, it's a great deal at that price. But like for $60, I feel like for me that's good, and that's good enough. But for some people, I think most people, like, you probably should wait for a sale. It's fun though. And then the last game I've been playing, I've been replaying Pokemon Ranger on the DS, and It's fun, but I'm remembering just how frustrating that game can be because in the sequels they fix this, but in the first game you have to do a continuous number of loops to catch something, and some of the Pokemon are fucking bastards about trying to be caught. And I've had, like, you really have to make use of, like, the right assists to get them incapacitated and slowed down enough to get them. So I've been pretty frustrated at this game at certain points because of that, but it's mostly fun. I have to take a break from it for a little bit because I've been playing it on my 3DS because I have a telescoping stylus, so I get, like, a better sense of, like, control with the touchscreen. I could play it on my DS Lite if I want to, but, like, it's not quite as comfortable that way. But fun fact, I found out that my 3DS, I'm pretty sure that the battery inside of it is starting to swell a tiny bit. I bought a battery to replace the original one that I had, because the original battery, being a heavy 3DS user, that shit lasted barely any time at all after I modded it. So I got a new one, and it was working really well for a while, and I started playing it last night, and I, like, pressed on the underside, the back plate of my 3DS, and I was like, this isn't sitting flush like it should. And it was ever so slightly. I was like, is this the plate or is this the battery? And I opened it up, and, like, I could see the battery was, like, starting to poke out a little bit, and I was like, oh, my battery's compromised. So I ordered a new one, and I have to wait for that to come in. So I might take a break from that and just play other games until it comes in and go back to playing it on my 3DS. I might play a little bit of Ranger on my DS Lite if I really want to play it, though. But yeah, just fun fact I thought you should know. I'm sitting on a spicy pillow in the making, and I gotta get rid of it soon, so that's cool.
Little Town Hero had an all-time user peak of 11 people on Steam. It's badass. Thank you for sharing out.
Ooh, that is really funny. Thank you, Al, for sharing that. Yeah, no, I haven't played Little Town Hero. I watched gameplay of it, and I'm not sure if I'm interested in it based on what I've seen. So, yeah. But Beast of Reincarnation is fine. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it's fine. So I'm glad that they made something that's half decent that is not Pokemon. So, yeah. What have you been up to, Landon?
I beat Digimon Story Time Stranger for the Nintendo Switch family of entertainment systems.
Good answer, Steve.
Thank you.
How was it?
It was good. The story happens at the end, and it turns out things.
It does take a weird turn.
Yeah,
no spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling anything. I don't know if Jack's gonna play it or not, but I know other people.
Katie is interested.
Yeah,
one of our Discord members. You can join our Discord. One of our Discord members is actually interested. So
I will not spoil the end of the game. Overall I enjoyed it. I did not do all of the things that unlock at the very end of the game because there's a lot of side quests that they just dump on you. As soon as you get to the last chapter, they're just like, okay, here's 18 million side quests. And I mean, it's so you can unlock, or you can max out your agent rank to fill out all the trees and everything. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I just wanted to get enough to get some of the Mega Pluses. So
yeah,
get up to rank 8, get my Omnimon.
Yeah.
Imperial Dramon
Rank 8's
Paladin
usually the
mode.
spot where you're good enough to get everything you want.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything is there anything locked behind a higher rank than that? Well, I guess there's stuff that you have to max out certain trees to unlock. I think there might be a couple things that technically you might need rank 9 for, but it's one or two. It's not a lot. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that you have to have rank 10 for, though. I don't think there is anyway.
Yeah, I think outside of there's 3 or 4 Digimon that require you to max out certain of the personality trees stuff. So
how did you feel about the management system? How they changed how you can
I think they did
fit with your Digimon.
I think they did a good job overall. It's like I for a while in the middle and like up to almost to the end, because the end, like, you can use the same 3. You can use 3 Digimon to like go through the final area, because everything has the same, at least shares one weakness in terms of like attack type, like literally every single enemy.
Yeah. What I liked about the game most of all is something that like I think that Pokemon needs to actually take from this game, and that's like you can do everything that you need to manage a Digimon from the boxes.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's certain things with Pokemon where you still have to take a Pokemon out of the box, put it in your party in order to do shit with it. As with Digimon, like that shit can just be in the box, and you could just open the pause menu, go in there, just be like boop boop boop, do all that shit, and just be ready to go with that.
The only thing you have to like take them out of the box for is like I don't know. Can you actually? Well, no, never mind. I answered my own question. The only thing you have to like literally take them out of the box for is to put them in the Digifarm to like do the passive stat grinding. So there's / personality like trait changing. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, like overall, it's like a much cleaner version of Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, and that's all you need. Like visual, like good.
Oh yeah.
It's like
I gotta play the Switch 2 version, because even though like it is on less powerful hardware, when I first played Time Stranger on PS5, they had not optimized the game yet.
Oh yeah,
it does
it
not look nearly as good.
It feels fairly optimized now. Like there was like a couple instances of it being a little rough. Yes, Jack?
Oh, sorry, don't mind me.
Okay.
He was laughing at something not related to this discussion.
Yeah,
How
no,
dare
sorry,
you.
I was reading a message someone sent me.
So yeah, like overall, yeah. Time Strangers.
I'm glad you liked it.
Time Stranger's great. I don't know if I'll get to the DLC ever, but it's out there. If I get the hankering to finish up my field guide, I did a lot of the field guide. I think I was like, oh god, 360, 380, something like that. Like, I think it was like about 360 of the 450 Digimon or something.
So you were like at least 80%.
I got
closer to 80.
All
85.
Everything from like in training all the way up to like practically every single ultimate that you can get. I grinded for and got. So it was literally the Megas and Mega Pluses. I did not get every single one. So yeah, it was good.
All right.
And then besides that, I that was like literally yesterday. I beat Digimon. I just started Shantae Advance, Risky's Revolution. So
Hell yeah.
I'll
Great game.
hopefully get through that. And then that's pretty much for stuff I've been playing. I did go and see the new Spider-Man movie, and that's fun.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that in our Discord.
Yes, that is a lot of fun. And because I got the stomach flu last week, I decided to watch Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four: First Steps. And those movies were also pretty good as well. Like I had a fun time with both of those. And I also binge watched the first season of the Disney Plus Daredevil show, Born Again, which takes place after the Netflix original. So it's actually a continuation of all that. So, it's good.
All right. So that's everything we've got for you guys to this episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Gen 7. So that's going to be interesting, which means that our Patreon this month is going to be a tier list for the Gen 7 Pokemon. So look forward to that. But as far as this episode, thank you all for tuning in, whether it was on our live Al or Pixel. You guys tuned in. Thank you for guys. Any VOD watchers or any people who listen to the post-processing version of this after that we had to restart recording on because Cheese Whiz so eloquently decided to ruin our first couple minutes for. That was really cool.
Shut up the whiz.
I'll give him what for.
So we'll catch you next time. Roll the outro. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. If you enjoyed us, consider subscribing to our podcast RSS feed or follow us on youtube.com/GamingStooges and twitch.tv/GamingStooges for more gaming content. If you'd like to chat with us, join our Discord. The link can be found in the episode description. We also want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Your continued support means a lot to us. Not already one? Please take a look at what we have to offer anyone who becomes a patron at patreon.com/GamingStooges. See you next time!